Let me tell you something about my first year in marriage. It shocked me in ways I never thought of. I'm not talking about the little quarrel, fight, or sleepless night. I'm talking about something that got me questioning what I thought I knew about marriage. So, if you just got married or you're preparing for marriage, this is for you. Because the truth about the first year in marriage will surprise you and save you a lot of stress. Now, the first thing that shocked me about marriage was understanding that communication was never automatic. Yes, you live with your spouse in one house, you sleep on one bed, you eat together, but you still misunderstand each other. There's this misunderstanding that comes, and you keep wondering, what's going on? Do I really know who I married? Because this really happened to me during our first year in marriage. I took, during the first 6 months in marriage, I took the knowledge or the communication pattern we had during dating, and I thought I could bring them into marriage and apply it and make it work. But I tell you, it never worked. I was totally wrong, because the first conflict we had in the first 6 months of our marriage was as a result of we lacking communication skills. So it really affected us in ways that we never saw it coming. For instance, there were times my wife will go visit her parents without telling me, and instead of me to communicate to her and tell her how that her action made me feel, my communication was pointing or signaling that I don't like her parents, I don't like her visiting her family. So, what I would tell people coming into marriage, especially you, the newly married or intending couples watching me now, listening to me, is that learn communication skills. If you can acquire effective communication skills in your first 1 year of marriage, you'll be escaping 80% of the marital crisis people without communication skills face. Because one of the major problems or cause of crisis in marriage is lack of communication. You need to understand your spouse's love language, how she relates, how she reacts to things before you step in, before you communicate with her. Like I'm telling you, communication really dealt with me, really dealt with me. And I can say, if I had taken communication serious and learned how to communicate effectively in my marriage, I believe me and my wife would have advanced more than we are now. So please, you coming into marriage, I beg you, take communication serious. Learn how to communicate. And when I say communicate, there are two types of communications. Don't bring the vertical type of communication you have in your workplace into marriage. In marriage, it's more of horizontal communication. You communicating with your equals. In workplace, your communication is mostly superior down to subordinate. In marriage, is equals. So the communication is more of horizontal. Please learn communication skills. Acquire it. Don't assume it will naturally occur. You will naturally understand. Because in my marriage, for the first 1 year, we assume things instead of communicating and understanding each other. For instance, there were times I came home and all I wanted to eat was swallow, because I'm the type that like eba and soup. While my wife is the rice type, indomie type, and fries. And I just felt, since we dated for a while, she should naturally know that I will eat swallow. And when I come back from work or maybe from where I went to and I meet rice, that just little thing became a challenge. And there were times she told me, what will you eat? And I'll tell her, cook something. Instead of me to tell her, babe, prepare swallow. You know it's swallow I love. So I'm begging you, take communication serious, because communication was a big shocker for me. You will feel, okay, is another woman I've dated Bro, sister, in marriage, communication is something different. Communication is in another level. Now, the second shock I had in the first year of my marriage was not understanding what the first year meant. I never knew that the first year in marriage was when we lay the foundation of the marriage. It's when the work ought to be. So what we did then was like, instead of settling down, we rushed into starting a family, into bringing babies. And it really, really affected us, affected me. Because what I'm saying this, it is in the first year of marriage that we ought to like have planned the finance, plan the parenting, plan the investment, plan the boundary setting, plan a lot of things. So the first year in marriage will shock you. What you accept in the first year of marriage is what you will accept in the 10th year of marriage. Okay, like I talked about work. I wish if I had put in the work in the first year of the marriage by creating boundaries, defining boundaries with my wife. I wouldn't be angry when my wife go visit her family without telling me. I wouldn't be angry when my wife still choose her family most times over me. Like we planning to do something next day and maybe a call comes from the family and she persuading me she needs to go. This, why I'm saying this, not setting boundary and planning in the first year really hit my marriage hard, because I remember we're in Abuja here, and out of jealousy, feeling no, my wife is giving her family more attention, made me relocate my family to River State, which really brought setback to the marriage, because we met in the plateaus, relocated to Abuja, and going back to River State, though I'm from River State, where we had nobody, no help, was really a setback to us. So the main work in marriage comes in the first 1 year of that marriage. And it was a shock because I never knew, nobody told me. Like I tell people, the challenges we have in marriage is because we don't have people telling us. All they say is, pray, God will help you. No worry, just pray. Let the Holy Spirit guide you. Yes, the Holy Spirit guides, but there are places for guidance. We need mentors. I wish somebody told me about the importance of putting the major work in the first 1 year. We married December 8th. By February 15th, my wife was heavy. She was pregnant. So we never really worked on planning the marriage, executing the marriage. It's in the first 1 year that you redefine the purpose you have. But like ours, it wasn't really like that. We just shifted purpose. We thought we had time. You don't have time. See, the first 1 year, what I'm telling you, if you take it and put it into practice, it will really help you. When you see some people that they just married 3 years ago and they're achieving success, they are progressing in marriage, it's because they laid the right foundation in the first 1 year. Focus on working on the first 1 year, because if you let it pass, it will hit you hard and become a shock to you when you get to year 2 or year 3 and realize that there were things you ought to have put in place in that first 1 year before moving to year 2, year 3. Now, the third shock I had in the first 1 year was not expecting that my wife, my spouse, would surprise me. Yes, let me tell you, in marriage, you might feel you know this person, you've lived with the person, you've dated. Like mine, me and my wife, we dated for so long, so we already knew everything about ourselves. But bros, when I entered the marriage, my wife, I thought I knew. I not been one. So let me tell you this. That person, that man, that woman you thought you already knew during courtship or dating, when you get into marriage, that man you've dated, you had courtship with, when you enter marriage, no only 10% you know of that person, that woman. Because they will surprise you in their actions, in their conduct, in the way they talk. So please, Don't go into marriage with high expectation, because your spouse will shock you, will surprise you. Now, to me, I won't lie to you. I'm not going to lie to you. This surprise, I didn't really take it lightly. It was a big blow to me when I saw the surprise, because I was so surprised. I discovered that I had the calling for the marriage institution. So when I started making content on Facebook and other social media, people started asking me, "You don't marry? Are you married? Marry first before you teach us." So one of the reasons why I really rushed into getting married was so that I could really teach. When I'm talking about marriage, people will not tell me, "Go sit down. You don't know what you're talking about." And so that my spouse and I could really go together, partner, and share about marriage, help build marriages. But when I got into marriage, see, the same woman that told me, when we marry, we'll be going to churches to talk, speak on their couples programs and the rest. When we got married, my wife said, "No, that one are your own. She need to settle down. She has other things." Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying, I'm not abusing, I'm not disrespecting women. I'm not accusing women, even men. Because I had this friend that during their courtship, his wife was supposed to go. His wife had diploma, OND, and the wife was supposed to go for BSc when they get married, and later MSc. When they got married, the husband changed and forgot to, like, I don't know whether forgot, didn't support her to go for the MSc and BSc and MSc, and that became a really source of conflict in their marriage. So expect surprises. Don't go into marriage with high expectation. It will really hurt you if you go into marriage with high expectation. Because the big shock for me was when I expected so much, I assumed so much. But when the surprises keep coming, my wife that I will give instructions and she never objected. She started objecting. I would say things, and instead of that, just saying, "Okay, baby, okay, sir," and the rest, my wife would say, "No, we are married. I'm not your girlfriend." So expect surprise. So I'm not saying these surprises will really be negative. It can be positive. That your spouse that you thought never knew A or B, when you get into marriage, you will discover your spouse knows how to do those things you thought he or she doesn't know. So please expect surprises. Don't allow surprise shock you as it shocked me in my marriage. Now, the fourth thing that surprised me in my marriage in the first 1 year was realizing that you can be married and you still feel lonely. Yes, so that woman you sleep with in the same bed, you eat in the same plate, that man you talk to always, you share things in common, there will become a time when you will not understand each other, when you will feel misunderstood, that you go to say, now this woman I marry, wetin happen? Because yes, that's how it is. I'm saying this to you that is just coming into the marriage institution, so that you don't run into the arms of another man or another woman because you felt lonely in marriage. Yes, it happens. There are times that you fall out of love. Yeah, they call it fall out of love. There are times that you will just feel like, I made a mistake marrying this man, marrying that woman. And let me tell you the truth, it occurs in the first 1 year. It starts from the first 1 year. So don't rush going back to your ex believing you made a mistake because you felt lonely. Yes, people before you have felt lonely. And let me tell you, feeling lonely, that feeling of loneliness in marriage sometimes is not caused by internal factor like your spouse choosing to make you feel lonely. Sometimes it's caused by external factors like pressure from workplace, financial pressures, and the rest. So don't use the feeling of loneliness to start cheating, Because this thing called extramarital affair cheating occurs when the feeling of loneliness comes. I'm preparing you because these are things nobody talked about, nobody taught me. And my owner be say, waiting I don't go through, I will come here and share it with you so that you learn from my mistakes lesson. Now, before I go to the fifth shock of my marriage in the first 1 year, if you like honest experience-based conversation like this, please share this video to someone who just got married or who is preparing for marriage, because this can change someone's marriage. I'm telling you nothing but the truth. Please share it. Now, the fifth shock in my marriage was not accepting the fact that my spouse will grow and change. You know, we live in a society where we resist change. Yes, in that first 1 year, your wife that always thought like this will start thinking different, because marriage comes with change of personality, change of identity. So expect that your spouse will change in many ways. This change, like I said earlier on, can be positive. So don't be rigid and say, now so we've been the doing before we got married, and it should be so. Because when I'm talking about this change, when I never understood this change, I was comparing my marriage to other people's own, my spouse to the other people. When I never understood these changes, I was comparing my marriage to other people's marriage, my spouse to other people, my spouse with other people. These people just married for 1 year and look at how their marriage is. Why is our own not like that? Please expect changes, expect growth. In fact, what you should do, plan for growth. In marriage, the whole essence of marriage is to help your spouse grow and become a better person. So don't be the hindrance, the obstacle to growth. Because I know some of the growth I'm talking about are not things you planned, are not things you are willing to accept. So prepare yourself that as I'm going to marriage, within the first 1 year, my spouse will grow, will change. Even this growth for women might come as a result of pregnancy, motherhood, and the rest. So expect it. Expect it. You, as a man, as a woman listening to me, be the architect of your own growth. Because I see one of the mistakes I see with women is that they get it wrong in areas of being stagnant in marriage. Then don't push growth. Growth is part of marriage, changes. So let me share this, because one of the things I never understood about marriage is in the area of changing associations. When I got married, I thought I still needed to maintain the kind of friends I kept, because I felt, we were taught traditionally and in conversations with our friends, that is women that leave friends, especially their unmarried friends. And I never knew that I'm supposed to change my associations, put my spouse number one, spend more time with her. So if you got nothing from this video, I want you to take these 5 things home. 1, effective communication skills will help sustain your marriage. Building the foundation in the first 1 year by working so much, defining and realigning the vision, planning, defining boundaries, planning finance, planning parenting, and not really rushing into starting a family before putting all these things in place will really help the marriage. Not going into marriage with high expectation will really help you, so that when your spouse surprises you, you don't feel bad. And understand that there will be moments of loneliness. Yes, you living with your spouse and still feeling it is part of it. It's normal in marriage. And accepting growth and change from your spouse. Take these 5 things and it will really help you. Now, if you like honest and experience-based conversation like this, hit the subscribe button and turn on the notification so that you'll be notified whenever I upload honest and experience-based content like this.